A very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to the Singapore Geospatial Week Plus 2020 series of webinars. So right now we have Miss Jinal Foflia from Grab. She's the Senior Program Manager at Grab. And she'll be sharing with us three short presentations. One touching on OpenStreetCam for community, the second one, Geo Stars, and the third one, leveraging geospatial technology to ensure access to essentials during COVID-19. So without further ado, I would like to hand off this presentation over to Jinal. Jinal, please.
Thank you so much, Azhar. Hello, everyone. I'm just sharing my screen and the presentation, so give me a second. And yes. So as Azhar mentioned that I will be presenting three different topics. Each of this is very different from the other. So in case you have questions or anything, do as Hang Young mentioned that you can leave it in the Q&A box while I'm presenting. And I'll try to answer a few of it after the presentation and before jumping to the next one. While if I miss something out, I will answer in the end. So a virtual hello to everybody. I am Jinal, as I introduced. I'm a senior program manager at Grab. This particular presentation where I'm talking about OpenStreetCam for community, I'm not sure if any one of you have heard of OpenStreetCam. And the image that you're seeing is the output from OpenStreetCam. So OpenStreetCam is a community-driven project. It's an open source project. Grab supports this project. This was something which was started to enable crowdsourcing, or it's an open database of the street level imagery that you, I, and anyone could collect and add, and that could be used for mapping or for inference. This platform was specifically built to help cater mappers to map in OpenStreetMap. For those who do not know about OpenStreetMap, OpenStreetMap is, in simple terms, it's Wikipedia of mapping, but it is an open database which allows all the mappers across the world. And right now there are 6 million contributors globally who are contributing and adding information across different platforms because they like as a hobby, or maybe because it's a humanitarian initiative that they are looking towards, or many more reasons. So why is street level imagery important, right? So here below you're seeing an example or a picture from one of the inputs from the street level imagery. Why is it important? So those who map, they all are aware that there are two ways of mapping, right? One is through street level imagery, one is through satellite imagery, which you're seeing the image right here. And the other is through you yourself going and adding all those pointers, which is more of a traditional mapping, which helps in, adding more information if you are locally present there. But there are certain things which you miss out when you are adding this information via, a satellite imagery, is the nitty-gritty. So it's like the 2D version versus the 3D version. 3D has a better experience versus 2D. So this helps you identify major things. Like in this junction, you cannot identify, you can specifically see there's some sort of construction going on, but it's hard to say where it is and what. Whereas this same image, which is the latest one, helps you identify multiple things, that there is a signboard here, there are arrows, there is some sign which says you can go this way or the other way, there's construction going on, and this is a boon to people who are trying to map or adding more information. As the presentation progresses, you will hear more about how this is helping us and why street level imagery is important. But I'll also give a quick introduction towards the tool side, how this works and how you could be a part of it and, leverage and help the community. So as I said, there would be more eyes on the ground for mapping. There are a lot of us, right? We take cycles, we take cars, and we all have phones. And this imagery is extremely essential for mappers. And this has a potential to help and improve this at a fantastic rate, when obviously done right. So it is 100% created for supporting OpenStreetMap and the community that works along with it. So how does this work? So OpenStreetCam, you can actually right now go to the Play Store and look out for OSC. It stands for OpenStreet. I mean, iStore and Apple Play Store. You can also use your GoPro or the other devices, which you have to connect, and there are instructions that are available that you can always refer to on how to make it happen. All of that images together goes to the database, which you can see it on the site, which I'll give you a run through as we go ahead, or if you can see it on your phone once you upload the slide. And this instantly is available on JOSM, which is a mapping tool, as well as ID editor. So I don't know if all of you come from a mapping background, but I am going to host another mapping workshop next Friday, 11 a.m. in the morning, where I'm going to be teaching you a lot more about how we are using photo mapping in different aspects of mapping, right? So it is going to be for everyone, someone who doesn't know OSM, someone who knows OSM. We're going to learn from basics of mapping to getting in deep of how do we use photos to map accurately on the map. And then that goes to OpenStreetMap, which is a platform which is used by millions of people across the world for multiple reasons. So here's the video. It's a short one. Basically, it is showing how the app looks like, the interface. You could select a file or a trail, and you can view the trail. So by just clicking on it, and it takes you, it feels like you're actually viewing and you're actually driving through it. It feels that it's step by step, and it helps you understand what it is like and what are the things you could do. And this interface is extremely simple. So it'll, if you want to, you just need to click on camera, and it'll ask for permissions, and then you can, continue mapping. It has to load, and I just did a short one. I did not go ahead and map. I wish I could, but this is more to just show. And then you click on start and it continues. And this is what it is. And once you're back, it connects and uploads this information, and your track is available on your profile as well as on the map. Oops, sorry. Yes. So then I think one very important element to it that comes along is the leaderboard, right? Like, we are trying to build a community platform, so it is really important that we have a little bit of competition just to encourage me as well as you to either give more. So we have these levels, what's the distance we've covered, and I was happy when I did 100 meters, like it's as simple as that. But there are people who've done so many kilometers and they share more about it, they get points, and you can brag about it. But this is what your page would look like. It's your profile, what's your rank. Sometimes you have weekly rank if you're, a consistent contributor. Uh, if there are tracks that are uploading and all of that. And one most important thing is that you remain in charge of your data. So you can always download all the things that you own, and you can delete the account if you like and take away all the data that is there. There is no stopping on that front. So you have complete control over what you want to share and what you don't want to share. So this is simple interface on how it is being used. You can just put it at your dashboard or on your cycle, when you're cycling, you can put it ahead by mounting it with cycle mounts. You can just turn on and then forget that anything is happening. You just take your mellow ride, and then once you're back, it'll complete, and you can upload that information. And then upload the track, and you're done. So we must be wondering, why is this important? Why am I asking you all to, explore this platform? What would it do? One, it is promoting open source. It is helping you improve your geospatial data around you. It is, I have myself run a bunch of mapathons, and it was last year during the Geospatial Week where we mapped wheelchair accessible places across in Singapore with all the fellow mappers on using these photos. So, it helps you identify and map for a cause. Other thing is, there are so many signs which you cannot see from satellite imagery. You're working, while you're doing this, you're contributing to the community, and this region being, like, I think the whole of the world is basically had a lot of natural disasters and all of it. These images help to understand the level of destruction before and after, what is happening. So it's a record. And I think something which I personally do is when I go on travels, I try to take these, with me. Like when things like a pandemic like this comes, I can view these trails and, I can see and relive that entire journey through the road and go forward. So there are multiple use cases. It is up to you and what you want to do. But whatever you collect is available and open, and that itself makes it, a platform that you'd want to consider. As I mentioned, we'd probably deep dive in the workshop, which is going to be a hands-on session for next Friday, to play with the interface, get introduced to mapping, and do the different things that you can, and help the different communities. I'll open the ground for questions. Yeah, I'm almost on time, so I have a couple of minutes. Um,
Yeah, for anyone who has a question for Jinal, do key in your questions in the Q&A box. Okay, yes, we have one question, two questions in fact. First question, if the images are publicly accessible, how does the app deal with privacy in the photos? Example, car license plates, faces. Are there any legal issues?
Yes, so I can, so the images that you upload do not directly get uploaded. There is obviously an interim process that, I mean, first of all, thank you so much for asking that question. There is an interim process which our tool or app takes into consideration, and it blurs out people's faces, license plates, any information that would be concerned. So we take care that no private information is, shared publicly, and privacy is something which is utmost important to us, and that's something which which is taken care.
Okay. And the second question is, would this be a good platform for footfall data?
Footfall data, as in it is for like for
People.
pedestrians.
Yes.
Yes. So as I mentioned, right, like there are multiple things which are hard to determine otherwise, unless you are from the what do you say, like you live there and you can add that information. So this information, I mean, it could be processed. You can get so much more. You can find sidewalks, you can find crosswalks, you can find wheelchair accessible places for pedestrians, and that will help make that whole experience much better.
One more question. How are the data verified before uploading?
Uh, Sorry,
How are the data verified before
Mhm.
uploading?
I think data verified would mean that like the process. I mean, there is an algorithm that looks into it, that removes the images which are not clear, such that if it's too bad, or that, like in case there is like a as I said, there's blurring and all of it. So there are models that help us make this contribution, verify this contribution. Basically, it is automatic though.
Okay, perhaps we can have one more last question before we
Yes.
move on to the next topic. So the next question is, may I ask what is Grab's long-term and strategic interest in this project?
Thank you for the question. So I think Grab believes in community and helping community in the ways we can. We are working, so we help, like by participating or supporting this project, we are bringing the global community together. And I think geospatial is something which is super close to Grab's heart. And like our initiatives, like wheelchair accessible places, our initiatives to support when there are a lot of disasters in this region. I think all of this would, I mean, there are some ways which it could help us is through platforms like this, like where it's available to people, and we can, we're just the facilitator. We want to make sure that we can help and bring this across to all of you to help us. That is basically our strategy, just to reach out and work with the communities that are very close to our heart.
Okay, so let's move on to your next topic.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for these questions. They were great. So next interesting thing, I think, as I was transitioning from the last topic, was the community and why is it important to grab. So there's this program which is specifically very close to my heart. It's called Geo Stars. It's Building Leaders of Today. So this is a program which basically we want to have that, appetite to explore, learn more about geospatial world and that arena. And this program is specifically dedicated to university students across Southeast Asia, where we focus on like teaching them about geospatial technology. Like if you think about like where maps have come so far, like we use maps for everything. And if we could facilitate that aspect and teach the newer generation or our generation more about, how we can interact with this community, how open source communities can work together and, help when it comes to humanitarian cause, or just learn more about it, do a lot of analysis around it, it is something which we would love to support. And this program does exactly the same. We have partnered with so many universities across Southeast Asia, and this is prior to COVID, because we would go in person and train. This program was initially designed to actually visit the classes, have like an in-person interaction, teach them, stay with them, learn, spend a day, learn what is happening, do activities around with them, and all of it. With this new times, the changing times, we're also adapting, and I wanted to share more about how we've adapted and what are the different things that we're introducing. So what's new, right? As I said, like COVID has brought a lot of changes, and I would suggest that this is a new normal. Like we're having this amazing bunch of events which are virtual. You're still able to attend. Like I think we're best, like we evolve with the situation, and that's what makes us who we are. Um, so that's something which happened to GeoStars as well. Like we were having a bunch of conversations and COVID struck. We couldn't meet them in person, but we were like, what do we do such that the whole idea behind us sharing all of this information and getting people together and know more about the geospatial world should continue. And that's the reason why we moved our entire program to being virtual. But before we move into the virtual aspect, I would want you to know more about why we wanted to do it and how, we've been doing so far. So this, as I said, is a custom-made program which adjusts into university schedule. It could be a credit course, it could be something which is a one-day event which comprises of everything, or it could be something which is span over 6 months. We keep that flexible because we want to ensure that there's participation, and the most important thing, that someone learns something out of it and moves ahead. So I think our objective was basically to, as I said, build an appetite to explore, but also to introduce them to the world of maps, and, which helps people to be, push for the greater good for the society. So this is what a virtual timeline looks like. It is very specific to, I mean, since it's an open source platform, OpenStreetMap, so it is revolving around it, but does not just limit to that. We have online registrations. We have some trainings on leadership as to how they can learn more about it, introduction to different communication channels, how they can be a part of the 6 million contributor community across the globe. And there are so many organizations that are supporting OpenStreetMap. So we try to build in a entire curriculum and then allow them to lead activities and run events within the campus, within their close circle of friends and family. And in the last, the winner will be basically awarded, the best. I mean, each of them have pointers and everything. They need to write, they need to learn more about it, and we'll have a winner. Not a winner per se, but someone who stood out, but everyone will still get a certificate from our end. So this is what like it looks like. There's enrollment, we reach out to them, we ask them why they're interested, and we go ahead and invite them to be a part of this program. They are our ambassadors, so there's obviously an introduction session. We teach them the basics of mapping, and after that we understand that, okay, if they're actually interested in analysis, then we introduce them to tools that are available to help them analyze. And there are people who've built projects over it, so it's a win from that. And then there are workshops, there are hands-on sessions, and in the end it's more like how they can explore more of it, and how they can continue this, like training the trainers as a concept. And they themselves run these. They have their own projects that they can share. And then another important thing is to plug them in during or within the community. Uh, yes, so there's one question that I've got is this program only limited to Southeast Asia folks? It is at this point just there in Southeast Asia. Hope we can expand the scope to other regions and other countries too. And graduation, so we used to have a gala event, so that most of the programs that we are running at this point, we are yet to go to the gala event, but it is going to be a gala event too. But it's going to be all virtual, so that's going to be an interesting take, and I'm hoping that I could share more about it next year. So as I said, adapting to new normal, we've been 100% virtual. We've tried to have interesting flyers, interesting certificates, interesting program this thing so that we can have more people join us. But what we generally do is, like, the most important and critical element when it comes to maps is that we are able to talk in person and interact, but that is completely taken away. So we send them and they can videos or pre-recorded talks where they can learn more about it at that time, and then have a dedicated session, which is where they ask questions, where we run demonstrations, and where we talk more about it. So we can eliminate that whole thing and actually help them learn more about it. And then we have our interactions with the other mappers in Grab, or we have knowledge sharing sessions and much more. So this is the major change that we've done, and I'm hoping that it is helpful. And these are first of a few graduates who've completed. This was our gala event where we caught all of them, we discussed, we shared, we had fun pictures, though they were online, but this is something which I think a lot of them were excited, and I'm hoping that we'd have more participation going forward, considering that this is going to be completely online. Yeah, questions. We'll like have 8 more minutes before the session is done. So I will try to answer them later as we move ahead. And thank you so much on that. But yes, if you have an initiative you want to at your university, do feel free to reach out to me, and we'll take it from there. And we'll see how we could cater to the audience and take it and have a GeoStar event at your campus too. So I think one of the themes that we've seen across when it comes to this year has been COVID and how it has impacted different streams of life. For Grab, I think business impact was very visible. I mean, our businesses have massive impact. There was anxiety amongst drivers, merchants, passengers, delivery. We've invested, I mean, we've done certain things for the community as at a Grab level. There was assistance that was given. There was, financial assistance that was given. We launched Grab Care for the frontliners. We launched Grab Protect so that, our partners, like passengers, feel safe, and so do the driver partners feel safe. And there were other additional opportunities, right? Like GrabMart, Grab Assistant. But other than that, I think we used our geospatial, knowledge, and as someone who's supporting it, we introduced and we started mapping for essentials, and that's where OpenStreetCam and Map Your City initiative came into play when it comes to Singapore and other countries, where we used OpenStreetMap to get us information which have different points of interest or hospitals, and if it was missing, so we were leveraging on that. And we also crowdsourced essential like pharmacy stores and everything, and that was made available. I'm not sure if all of you had a chance to explore it when it was there, or it is still there, but this was an app which was available in Grab's Grab app, where you could click and find all the information in one place. In times like pandemic, it is extremely hard for all of us to look out for information. So one of our intention was to make it available such that they can find where's ATM, or I'm sure you're aware of your neighborhood, but it is something which helps a lot, especially when it comes to hospitals, pharmacy stores, which are active, which are not, and more. So how did we make this happen, not just in Singapore, but across, is through multiple campaigns that we did. So we had these mapping platforms where people could contribute this information, and others could use this information, right? Because some of them, like there were drastic changes that came across, right? Some of them were open for the whole day, some of them had limited. So that was not something which is available on the website or something. So we ensured that there's a platform where we could have this information and also relate. So as I mentioned earlier, that Grab was always a facilitator. It was an event or an initiative that was run by folks like you, like the community. We just did a little to make it available to everyone and have everyone use it in times like this. As they say, like drastic times requires drastic measures. So we were happy that we could contribute. But one of the reasons why we were sharing it is that, how geospatial data or maps have helped us in times like this. And, sometimes it's easy to visualize versus trying to figure out where it is. So yeah, this is our little story, which our teams across not just Singapore, but across Southeast Asia went through, and we got immense participation. So we take this platform to also thank you all who contributed or who used this information, because this is what we wanted to, share and work along with you and be together in times like this. Thank you so much for listening to me continuously talking. Are there any questions from this talk or previous talk? We literally have 4 minutes, so I'm going to try to make it as fast as possible. And otherwise, yes, you can reach out to me. So yeah, any questions?
So the floor is open to audience to ask Jinal any questions pertaining to any of the three topics that she has spoken about.
I guess none, which is great. I think you're on time then.
Okay, so anyway, Jinal's email is here on the screen. So if you have any questions, any burning questions that you may have regarding those three topics that she has spoken about, do drop her an email. Otherwise, thank you so much, Jinal, for giving us this talk on Grab's initiatives. And for those of you who are interested in I think the first one you've spoken about, the
OpenStreetCam.
OpenStreetCam, yeah. So for those of you who are interested, can actually join her webinar next week, yeah.
Yes, next Friday.
Yeah, next Friday.
Thank you so much.
So do look out for it. Yeah, do look out for it. We're gonna flash the QR code for all the events that's happening for the Singapore Geospatial Week, and you may register for that OpenStreetCam session next Friday. Okay, so with that, I would like to thank you again, Jinal, for giving us this short presentation. And for the rest of the audience, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you in the other webinars. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Azhar, and thanks to GeoWorks again for giving us a platform and organizing this virtual event so amazingly. Thank you everyone for attending, and thanks so much.